Hi, my dearest of family. So today we are going to be talking about Venus and Saturn conjunction. One of the reasons why we are going to be talking about this is because this is a new cycle for Venus with Saturn. And the second reason is that actually we are going to be experiencing three conjunctions between them too. And one of them is taking place on the 19th of January on 16 degree of Pisces, and it is actually having a very exact sextile to Mercury as well. So I decided to break this down for the 12 signs also because this might be something that you benefit from. Remember, Saturn and Venus meet approximately once a year. So the very last time they met were last year, basically, and it happened on 12 degree of Pisces. So it's very possible, but we only have that one conjunction there. So it's very possible that some of the themes that are going to be repeating for you from that period of time as well. So their meeting point is a little bit erratic because last year they met in March, 21st of March to be precise. And then the previous year in 2023, it was happening on January 19th, off the top of my head. And then this year, as mentioned before, we are going to be having three conjunctions. Now, the reason why, because Venus is going to be moving into the sign of Aries and it's going to turn retrograde on 11th degree of Aries, and it's going to be going back into the sign of Pisces later on. So let me give you the exact dates. So we have got the conjunction happening on 18th of January 2025. Now that's going to be happening on 16 degree of Sagittarius. I'm just in the meantime checking on my solar fire to give you the exact dates. Then we're gonna have one on 7th of April and on the 24th of April. Now the 7th of April is actually going to be happening on 25 degree of Pisces, and it's going to have a very tight conjunction with Mercury and the North Node as well. And surely I will be making a separate video about that because that's going to be a very exciting pivotal moment. And then the next conjunction between them two is April 24th, as mentioned earlier. And that's going to be happening on 27 degree of Pisces, still in conjunction to the North Node, but we're going to have the moon and Ceres there as well. So this is basically a big cycle. Now, what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be giving you a general description of these planetary energies. And then once we have done, I'm going to be giving you a very brief description for all 12 signs. But I recommend listening to the beginning of the video to have an understanding about what it means. Now, first of all, I would like to make an announcement. Exciting times ahead. I'm going to be in New York from 9th of February till the 17th of February. I've got a very few spots left if you would like to have a personal reading with me. So in person, we're going to sit down somewhere and have a chat. It's either a 60 or a 90 minutes conversation that we are going to be able to have. And potentially, because this is my birthday week, I'm also going to be organizing a bit of a maybe a birthday outing. Let's see about that. But if someone wants to tag along and maybe have a cocktail, a dinner, and so forth, then we might be able to do that also. But I'm going to be letting you know about that, or just drop me an email and I can update you in the meantime. The other announcement that I would like to make is I'm going to be starting a completely new course. Now, this course is going to be about vocation and money. I know I've done some in the past, but this is going to be slightly bit different. And the reason why it's going to be different is because it's pretty much not necessarily the continuation of the previous lectures. It's more to do with additional information. So what I will be covering in this course, well, basically I'm going to be covering the differences between the vocational houses. I will be looking at the most dominant planet of your chart and then how that influences your career choices. We're going to be looking at some money management patterns. We're going to look at where the extra hidden income is in your chart. We're going to be kind of comparing the financial houses with each other as well. We're going to be looking at 12th house as a vocational indicator. We're going to be looking at midheaven in synastry, because obviously when you work for a company, for example, or you work together with your partner, this might become extremely important. We're going to be looking at what happens if the outer planets are in one of your career houses or Pluto in one of your career houses. And also, we're going to be working with transits as well. So, Jupiter transit to career houses, Saturn, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus transit to any of your career departments of your own chart. And even we're going to be looking at challenges to the career department, retirement, financial trouble. And I'm additionally going to be giving you vocational asteroids as well. So, this is going to be a very exciting course. It's going to be 20 weeks. If you would like the whole bundle on the vocational courses, because I've done a couple of money courses before and I've done a vocational course as well before. So if you would like that separately, then there is a bundle available for you on a massive discounted price as well. Now, this 20-week course is going to cost 399 British pounds. So it's about $500, I believe. So I think it's very reasonable. And also there is going to be a payment plan available. So 3 times. This course starts on 28th of February, 3 p.m. Budapest, Hungary time. So if you are interested, check it out on my website, AstroViktor.com. And also, I would be very happy if you subscribe to my channel. Still, about 57% of the viewers are not subscribed. Maybe comment on the video as well. Give it a like, share it with others, because this could be very helpful to others as well. Let's get started. So we've got the Venus and Saturn conjunction happening 18th or 19th of January, depending on where you are. So on one hand, this is going to talk to us about the test in our love life. But Mercury is making a very beautiful sextile to this. And on the very same day, by the way, we also have got the Sun entering Aquarius as well, which I'm not going to be talking about today as much because I think that would be a bit of a stretch already for this video. So first of all, Venus and Saturn together with Mercury. It's really much about understanding your love dynamics. It's about figuring out what is important for you in love, what is important to you when it comes to financial matters, for example. Because Saturn is the planet of commitment, it's the planet of glue. Often we are afraid of Saturn meeting up with any of our planets. But actually, this could talk to us about pretty much of a long-term relationship if you are single. Now, because remember the special degrees that I gave you at the beginning of the video, it is triggering, for example, the 5th house ruler or the 7th house ruler, even the 1st house ruler or your moon, for example, Venus. And this video is highly important for you. Now, Saturn is the planet of karma. So it looks like we're going to have to be looking at the karmic patterns when it comes to our love or financial signatures. And because it happens in the sign of Pisces, we are meant to be letting go of those. Imagine planetary conjunctions as the unification of two planetary energies, and then they kind of create a giant planet instead. They come together to kind of work together. Often, when the planets don't get along, and Venus and Saturn are not necessarily the best friends, it's kind of like being forced to work together type of things. But it doesn't mean that they're not going to start liking each other at the end of the day. Also, because Venus is the planet of desire, it's kind of like your heartstrings. This could really talk to you about crystallizing your heart desire. So thinking about what I would like to achieve in the long run, but what type of karmic patterns I might need to be able to let go of as well. And this could even talk to you about having to make certain type of choices in your love life or in your financial department, for example, to figure out what path you want to be on. And remember, this combination is actually still in square to Jupiter as well. So the problem could be that we have got multiple options here. And that's where Saturn is coming into the picture, who is telling you that you're going to have to be choosing something smartly, or you're going to have to be prioritizing. And because Venus is standing right next to it, Saturn might tell you, prioritize the money or prioritize your love life, for example, rather than, for example, prioritizing with Jupiter in the sign of Gemini, the travels, the fun, the gossips, and all these type of things. Maybe the title of this video could be Choose Love over overthinking certain type of things. And Saturn is the representation of satisfaction as well. So this would talk to you about whether I am satisfied in my love life or there is something missing here, because Pisces is usually about yearning. It is about wanting to kind of be in a complete kind of union type of things. And that's highly important for Pisces, to be connected on a soul level. So this could kind of awaken a feeling within you that something is missing. What is keeping this relationship going? For example, where is the heart in the relationship? And Saturn is very practical, very simplistic, and also very tangible. So it is telling you to approach your love life from a tangible point of view. We don't need to over mystify things. We don't need to be overcomplicating things. Sometimes just going back to basics is the best course of action to do. Of course, it is happening in the sign of Pisces. So we might have got a tendency to over spiritualize things, especially because we've got also Jupiter in square to it. And Jupiter is the planet of overstretching things. Now, this could talk to you about, for example, meeting someone which feels extremely karmic as well. And what there might be the potential problem is that while Saturn represents something that is real, often with Pisces, this is something to do with unreal type of things, unreality. So are you crystal clear about what is going on in your love life? What is going on with that person that you are dating with? And this is where Mercury also in the sign of Capricorn comes into the picture, which has got an exact sextile on the 16th degree of Capricorn, which says, you know what, do not ask too many questions, ask the right ones. But then Jupiter is in the picture as well, right? And Jupiter is asking too many questions. So I hope you can see where potentially the problem might be coming with this. And also with Mercury, let's just have a structured way of thinking about this. Let's approach this from a realistic point of view rather than kind of like flying, with the clouds in the sky, thinking that everything is actually beautifully going on. I love actually the Mercury, Saturn, Venus type of combination right now because definitely Mercury is trying to ground your way of thinking. And maybe it is also kind of reasoning that you have to be able to let go of some type of karmic patterns. And because Pisces is the sign of contemplation, you might go a little bit within and then start thinking about potentially what needs to be released. And that's going to be the situation for many of us anyway, because Venus is going to go retrograde, of course, for a reason. So is it true love or is it not? It's kind of like what came to my mind. Is it cake or is it not? There is that show going on Netflix, and the cake is Venusia, right? So is it sweet or is it just kind of like a little bit lukewarm with it? Right? So that's the whole idea here. I also feel like because Saturn is the planet of responsibility. So it tells us that we need to be able to be responsible for our own actions when it comes to our desire. And being responsible on a daily basis, basically practicing self-love, self-care, especially if this conjunction takes place in your first or in the sixth house, is highly important. I'm mentioning self-care as being extremely prominent, in my opinion, because remember, in the third conjunction on the 24th of April, as mentioned earlier, there's going to be Moon, North Node, and Ceres very tightly conjuncting Saturn and Venus as well. And those combination altogether is about caring. It's about self-care. It's about caring for someone and being cared for as well. Also, it kind of really feels like, because Saturn is the planet of mastery, that we need to be able to master or figure out our own love language. And maybe we need to be able to communicate that towards our partner. And that would be the Mercurian signature here. Of course, Pisces has got this very helpful side to it as well. So maybe it's about feeling sorry for others, and then you want to be doing something charitable. You want to be kind of like, because Venus and Mercury together is very much like the salesperson. So I'm going to be running a certain type of promotion, for example. I'm going to be running a charitable kind of movement. That's actually possible with this combination as well. So helping others, that could be pretty much of a signature with this combination too. Now, of course, there is a bit of a challenge coming with this as well, of course, because if you have got a dysfunctional relationship, then basically this combination is going to be testing your relationship. So Saturn is the planet of triumphs. So it is pretty much about looking at how committed you are in this relationship, and then how serious you are about it. How far are you willing to go, for example, to save your relationship? And that savior energy is uh, very much about Piscean archetype, right? So, are we fully committed? That's one of the questions when it comes to relationship, money, or even for your values. Saturn is the planet of discipline, so we need to be disciplined of how much money we are spending, for example. This is kind of like an aspect who invites you to look for certain type of deals. And Pisces lacks no boundaries. So that's where Saturn comes into the picture, who says, be very real about your expenditure, about your love life. Do not overstretch yourself for 2 seconds. Now, Venus loves pleasure and gratification and those type of topics as well. So Saturn tells you that you need to be looking at a little bit whether that self-gratification is so important, really. Can you actually say no to pleasure for a couple of seconds, right? Or Saturn is the planet of kind of enough and quality. So don't say no to pleasure, but then do something more quality rather than focusing on the quantity. And that's the Jupiterian uh, part of this planetary picture here. And because Venus is also the representation of Saturn, self-esteem, so the other topic that could be popping up is that if I kind of focus on self-gratification, or if I don't know, go into a one-night stand, for example, which Saturn is not necessarily into, Venus could be in the sign of Pisces. So let's say you sign up for that type of things. Do you actually, in the long run, destroy your own self-esteem? With Saturn, we doubt things. So you doubt whether you've got the talent, you doubt whether you are beautiful. You might be creating certain type of sentences in your head that I don't deserve love, I don't deserve money. There are certain type of blockages here, but Saturn is coming to reveal these to you. And that's what you should be working on in the next 5 months. It's very interesting, by the way, that the following day we have got a Juno and Mars trine happening as well. So it really feels like that the relationship topic for many of us, especially for the water signs, are going to be extremely significant, especially in the first 6 months of the year. Also, imagine that maybe you have overgone, over, overstretch yourself when it comes to any type of addictions, alcohol, drugs, and illnesses. So Saturn comes into the picture who tries to sober you up. Maybe you feel a little bit down with this because you feel lonely, you feel alone. Maybe you have sacrificed something to the greater good in the name of the greater good. Maybe you have sacrificed something in order to keep your partner around. So is that really something that you want, or you would like to have certain type of happiness in your life? Because if you are in a relationship that is kind of like just lukewarm, and then you don't get what you deserve, Venus, and with Saturn, we usually don't get what we deserve, or at least on a human level, because Saturn exactly knows how much you can bear, because it has got a cross on top of it, right? So that's a cross on the soul. It exactly knows how much you can carry. It exactly knows how much kind of burden and obstacles it has to give you to be able to get you out of your comfort zone and to get you move forward so that the results are going to be coming into your life. Pisces is about dreaming, and Saturn is about reality and crystallization. So, what is your heart desire? Because you can make that happen. And it's also interesting that we have got a disseminating trine happening between the Virgo moon and the Capricorn sun. So, obviously, we've got the Saturn that is disposing the sun, so even this is kind of like really feels like that many of us are going to be able to break a karmic pattern. And maybe you are going to be able to leave the past behind because the sun is the past. And moon is in the sign of Virgo, which is representing to us that we might have been trying to control our feeling. We might have been trying to control the outcome of our past action, and maybe this aspect is even inviting you to kind of like sometimes just go with the flow and allow yourself to have fun, because it highly depends on your natal chart whether Saturn is the stronger character or Venus is the stronger character. So what I exactly mean by that, that it's highly possible that you are, just focusing on work and then ignoring the fun part in your life and so forth, then the scenario would be the other way around for you. And that would be extremely, extremely important. Um, with Venus and Saturn, yes, this is a challenging aspect, I would say, but it's manageable though. Now, later on, we're going to have Neptune in the picture as well. And Neptune will be actually in the very third time of the conjunction. It's going to be in Aries already. However, in the second conjunction, Neptune is going to be there as well. So this could be kind of like a confusion about what makes you happy. And just remember that we have got the karmic nodes involved as well. Now, of course, what is happening uh, with the all the planetary picture is that it could be affecting the world as well. And maybe certain type of negotiations are going to be ending, for example, between countries, between companies, and so forth. So this could talk to us about certain type of um like saying goodbye to each other pretty much. And even when I'm looking at the Venus and Jupiter square, there is actually a reception going on between them two, because Venus is in the sign of Pisces, which is disposed by Jupiter, and Venus is actually exalted. And Jupiter slowly, but it's going to be turning direct. So Venus is going to be heading, uh, you know, backwards to make a conjunction again with Saturn. So basically, what Venus is doing here is awakening the square between Jupiter and Saturn, which I made quite several video about. So I don't want to be talking about this too much. But from a traditional point of view, we call it as the transfer of light. And, Jupiter and Saturn is about the growing pain, for example, or the growing responsibilities. Or I would like to grow, but I run into walls. And maybe Venus is telling you that if you keep running into walls, it is potentially because you are not doing what your heart desires. It is kind of like not meant to be. So remember that the Jupiter and Saturn square is in basically impacting you until about September. Okay. So Venus is highly important in this cycle because it's going to be keep reconnecting the Jupiter and Saturn cycle here. Now, I think I mentioned everything that we kind of need to know. Maybe also remember that Saturn is the planet of building and structure. So we are meant to be building self-esteem. We are meant to be building up our own beauty. We are meant to be building our dreams up to become reality. And Venus and Saturn could really talk to you about engagement as well. So be engaged with others, Mercury, ask questions, listen to them, and this should be a very beautiful aspect. So that would be a brief description about how I feel this is going to be playing out for many of us. Now, we might want to be looking at what it means for the 12 signs. So to help you with some visuals, I'm going to be sharing the screen. I think that's the easiest one. And then you will be able to see what exactly I'm talking about. I think that might be helping quite a lot of you. So let me just start with Aries rising sign. So that you can see a full picture, then let me just switch off my camera and then you can just focus on the chart and you don't need to be focusing on my pretty or ugly face. So first of all, we've got Aries rising sign, and this is happening in your 12th house. And this really feels like that you're going to have to be reflecting on your financial nature or on your relationship, whether it works for you or not. Now, Venus is the ruler of your second and seventh house. So that's where the relationship and the financial matters are coming into the picture. Maybe you're gonna have to be investing time and effort into self-reflection. Maybe it's a course, for example, that you want to be taking because Jupiter is in your third house to kind of boost your confidence level, to boost your self-esteem. Saturn is disposing the sun, which is the ruler of your fifth house, and the fifth house represents certain type of confidence levels. But also, this is telling you that if you feel like that this relationship is not necessarily serving you anymore, then you are meant to be ending something here. You are meant to be putting a full stop to your relationship. You are meant to be putting a full stop to some of your unconscious patterns when it comes to your financial abilities. Yes, there is an emotional baggage here that you have been carrying for a very long time. And you need to be able to kind of face that, to confront that, rather than kind of being in an oblivion and escaping from any of these because it is not serving you anymore. So this is the reason why you are going to be receiving these free conjunctions. Maybe there are some unspoken desires here that you feel like that maybe you couldn't be, talking to people about. And in a way, this is also telling you to kind of forget about it because your desire is your own desire, right? And you have got every single right, Jupiter, to actually speak about those. Yes, this could talk to you about some very practical things as well. You figure out that your partner is cheating on you. You have got the desire to have more intimate connections with them. Maybe it could talk to you about that you are unsure whether you can talk to your partner about your desires. This is about healing your love life. This is about healing your finances. This is about healing your potentially your own uh kind of like doing an emotional spring clean here. That's what it looks like you are going to be doing in the next 1 year. And once you have done that, then we are ready to attract and to connect with meaningful people in your life. And that would be Jupiter in your third house, which is the planet of meaningfulness. Now, I also mentioned to you that we have got the Juno and Mars trine going on as well. And that is also an indication there is something to be working through here, but that's only going to be happening the following day. But obviously, these are interconnected. Aries rising sign, if you would like to get more weekly updates from me, then you might want to be considering joining my membership program. And then I give you approximately about 2 hour worth of video each week about the weekly patterns. Half of them is about general forecast, and half of them is for the 12 signs. You can do that on my YouTube channel as well as you can do that on my website, AstroViktor.com. Let's move on to Taurus rising sign. So, dear Taurus, this conjunction is taking place in your 11th house, which is your long term goals, your hopes and wishes, friendships, networking, as well as benefactors in your life. So now Venus is the ruler of your own path. So this is actually a really important conjunction for you. So what it pretty much tells you on one hand is surely that you have to be taking care of yourself. You have to be taking care of the connections that you have. And you need to be able to align with the goals that Saturn is kind of like asking you to do. So think about what you would like to achieve in the long run. But also at the same time, this is inviting you to be patient because we've got this square happening to Jupiter, that this might not be happening immediately though, because Jupiter is retrograde, of course, and that is one of the reasons. Also, this could talk to you about that you want to be helping the community somehow. You want to be feeling useful. You want to be the savior to others. And maybe you are going to be donating certain type of things with Jupiter in the second house, for example. Maybe it's a part of your salary. Maybe it is, unused type of stuff in your house. The reason why, because Saturn is disposing your sun, and the sun is the ruler of your fourth house. So that's why something being given away to others from your house could be potentially a manifestation of this. Maybe you are examining whether your connections to people, to online platforms, to friends, for example, are worth it or not. Are they really my friends or not? Are they really supporting my goals? Or do I feel kind of drained by them, having to help them all the time? That could be also another question here. And maybe you decide during the next 4 or 5 months that I want to be distancing myself from kind of like whiny people or people who are unable to focus on their lives or people who might want to use me for their own benefits, but I don't necessarily gain anything out of them. And maybe you are just ending up being on social media and then kind of scrolling through, your friend zone and then realizing that, okay, you know what? I don't speak to this person. I don't speak to that person. So let me just kind of like unfriend them in a way. And of course, we all heard that TikTok has been banned in the US. And obviously, the 11th house is a business house as well for you, especially with Jupiter squaring, making a square from the second house could indicate certain type of financial struggles. And you're going to have to be thinking about how to replace TikTok, for example, so that, of course, you can gain more income. Okay, let's move on to our next sign, which is, oh, and Taurus. If you need a more clarification, for example, on your weekly energies, then you might want to consider joining my membership program. You can get approximately about 2 hour, 2.5 hour video each week about the energy patterns in the sky. And also it is broken down in about 6 to 8 minutes to each sign, what it potentially could mean to you. So let's have a look at Gemini rising sign. So this is happening in your 10th house. So it looks like that it's time to become visible. It is time to put yourself out there. It is time sometimes to be vulnerable as well. And the reason being is because you are ruled by Mercury, and Mercury makes this very exact sextile to Venus and Saturn as well at the same time. And that's in the house of shared resources, but also your psychological makeup. So it looks like that maybe you are trying to start a new work, for example, but you are unsure. You doubt that you've got the talent. Maybe you are thinking about a business opportunity, for example, but you are scared because you've got responsibilities, you've got bills to pay, and all those type of stuff. And that is holding you back. So this might be something that you want to be actually kind of like clearing out here. Maybe this is also telling you, first of all, Venus, what is the ideal job that I want? And then Saturn, okay, let's make a plan and then let's move towards it. And maybe the plan is, of course, on one hand, around healing, to be confident about who you are. Secondly, to remove any type of barriers in your life that is poisoning your life, because Saturn is the ruler of your eighth house, which represents poisons. Or maybe you even want to be considering studying something, which is obviously the ninth house type of energy. Saturn is also the ruler of your ninth. Look at Venus, which is the ruler of your fifth, and that's about passion. So doing a hobby that I can turn into potentially a profession. Also, this might remind you to tap into your own kind of like authority type of energy, whether I like being a boss or I don't like being a boss. Or maybe this is also working towards being like gaining recognition or reputation for something. What this is telling you to get serious about your own career goals. Now, Pisces, kind of your career might depend on your mood somehow. So maybe we need to get our mood in check as well. And also, there is a square happening from Jupiter in the first house, which is retrograde, and Jupiter would like to enlarge you. You know, it wants you to figure out the meaning to life. So this is really about finding a meaningful career for yourself. Yes, maybe you are thinking about promotion. Maybe you actually decide to step down a little bit or step back a little bit to kind of reflect on your own professional achievements and how others are pursuing you and so on. So that's a possibility as well, of course, because Jupiter is retrograde at the moment. Let's have a look at Cancer rising sign. And by the way, Gemini, if you need further clarifications each week about your planetary alignments, then you might want to be considering joining my membership program. And then you would be receiving approximately about 2.5 hour video each week, broken down for the 12 signs, what the planetary alignments mean in the sky for you. So let's have a look at Cancer. First of all, Cancer, we have got this conjunction happening in the ninth house, which is the house of opportunities and bigger pictures. So it looks like you're going to have to be looking at what is the meaning to this relationship? What is the meaning of collaborating with others? Is it useful? Is it not useful? Or maybe it's the fear of reaching out to people. Maybe you have got certain type of relationship blockages because the Saturn is the ruler of your relationship department. And on one hand, one of the meanings of that is that you are lacking somehow self-love. Maybe you are lacking a little bit of a bravery as well. Mars has been working extremely hard in your chart, by the way, to give you more kind of like a risky attitude. But the square to Jupiter, which is disposing all these Piscean energies, are talking to us about having to kind of say goodbye to your karmic kind of patterns that you have been following, but also it is telling you to follow your intuition as well, or asking you whether your intuition is grounded and then you have been overstretching that. So you're going to have to be kind of like real with yourself about that. This is telling you to look for an opportunity and create a plan so that you can get there, or maybe even it tells you to look at or change your viewpoint over your own obsessions or even the medical field. Jupiter is the ruler of your sixth house, which represents medicalities. Maybe you feel actually, maybe you have been studying something, but you haven't been too serious about it. You've collected all the data, all the information, maybe, you have got a lot of kind of courses piling up on your laptop, and then now let's just systemize them and then let's get serious about it. Let's plan so that we can absorb all that knowledge, and eventually this could become something that is our own profession, for example. And this might be connected to spirituality, of course. Or maybe you will feel very inspired to study something that has been your heart desire for a very long time, hoping, Pisces and Jupiter, that this is going to be bringing you success. Now, Saturn disposes your Mercury in the seventh house. So potentially, maybe it can feel like that you have got these plans, you've got this love story going on, but maybe someone else is not on board with it, Mercury. And not being on board is very much coming from the fact that Mercury is the dispositor of your Jupiter in the 12th house. And 12th house is quite a challenging house, actually. And also, Jupiter wants you to grow. And what could be happening here is that maybe you are not following a disciplined path here. And even this could talk to you about having certain type of relocation plans as well. But again, is the partner or people that I live together with are on board with me, or they need a bit of a convincing, for example? So, Kenza, if you need further clarification about your week ahead, then you might want to be considering signing up on my membership program, and you would be receiving approximately about 2.5 hour video for all 12 signs and the general forecast about the weekly energies. So let's have a look at Leo rising sign, and it is happening in your eighth house, which is very much about joining finances, but also intimacy and psychological complexes. So maybe you have to be working through your idea that you are not lovable, that you don't deserve love, that you don't deserve money, and all these type of stuff. Maybe this is actually telling you that you're going to have to create certain type of boundaries when it comes to your intimacy issues, for example. Or maybe you're going to have to take seriously your own desire or even your spending habits as well. Maybe you have got certain type of attachments that are not serving you anymore, and that needs to be kind of worked through. Remember that when the Venus and Saturn conjunction are taking place, we've got an exact trine happening to Mercury as well. So this could talk to you about that you want to be transitioning or transforming your health habits, for example, letting go of something that is no longer serving you, having to kind of take a more serious approach to have a healthier lifestyle, or to commit to something that you might not love as much, because Saturn and Venus can talk to us about that too. That kind of like, I'm not loving it as much. I'm not loving to be on a diet. Not loving to go to the gym and all those type of things. But also maybe this is about building trust, for example, with your coworkers, being able to delegate, being able to give them tasks as well. And maybe this is about joining forces. A conjunction could talk to you about that anyway. So I'm going to be joining forces with a partner of mine, seventh house, to fix some certain type of, hurdles, obstacles in our lives. So this is telling you that you don't need to be resolving your problems on your own. And Leo, let's be frank, sometimes you're going to have to be able to put your pride aside. Let's move on to Virgo rising sign. So, dear Virgo, this is actually happening in your seventh house. And this would talk to you about forming a deeper connection with someone. A kind of like maybe mutual respect could be very important here as well. And then also maybe whether I can be committed to this partnership, I feel loved by the partner, or what type of love I give them. Is there equality somehow between that too? Are we willing to compromise? Are we willing to work on it? And potentially this is about, being able to talk out our obstacles and hurdles and maybe intimacy issues as well. It feels like that you are meant to be rebuilding your connections with others by creating certain type of boundaries, limitations, and maybe even being able to say no to something, or being able to say yes, but within kind of like a barrier, because maybe that Venus desires and yearns for something kind of new, for example. Maybe we have set a lot of expectations towards others, and then we have to be looking into the mirror and then seeing that, what, maybe I've been asking too much, or I am asked too much, and I'm going to have to be able to say no to them. That is definitely having to have a serious talk about children, about fun, intimacy, how many times we go out, how much quality time we spend together. Libra rising sign. So, dear Libra, obviously Venus is the ruler of you. So, this is going to be important for you, and this is taking place in your sixth house. So, this is pretty much talking to you about attending duties or having fun. And there could be a big debate here. Obviously, Venus would like to have fun, and Saturn is about let's get work done first. But what's interesting is that Saturn also rules your fun department as well, and that's the fifth house. So it could really talk to you about, yeah, surely what to do. Secondly, it is bringing up the topic of having to take care of your emotional well-being as well as your physical body. Maybe it's about starting a new diet. Maybe this is about starting a new kind of work routine that I'm going to be focusing a little bit more on time management, for example. Maybe this is about fixing your love life. Maybe this is fixing up your home as well, because the Saturn is the ruler of your fourth house. So you decide that you want to be beautifying your home. You want to beautifying the garden, the land, and all those type of things. And also, this might be talking to you about that you are thinking about retirement, or you are thinking about creating a better work and life balance. Because Saturn disposes your Mercury, which is forming an opposition to Mars. So having to find balance how much time we spend at home and how much we not. Saturn is about commitment. So we need to commit to some fun and we need to let the hair down sometimes, but we also have to be honoring our own good habits as well that are beneficial. Let's move on to Scorpio, rising sign. So, dear Scorpio, this conjunction is taking place in your fifth house, which is connected to your love life, as well as something to do with the passion that you have got. And it really feels like that maybe we do not need to be dreaming anymore, that one day I'm going to be a dancer and one day I'm going to be doing this and that. Let's make it happen. This is also about Maybe we need to be a little bit more creative. Maybe you have got a lot of creative talent, but you haven't necessarily tapped into them yet. Maybe this is a confidence issue, actually. And Saturn would like you to kind of work on that. And same applies to your love life as well. I mean, Venus is the ruler of your seventh house, committed partnership, and Saturn is the planet of commitment and glue. So maybe there is a need here to kind of put yourself out on a stage so that you can meet a romantic partner, or if you are committed or in a partnership, then maybe we're gonna have to work through some of our um, intimacy matters. Maybe we are actually thinking about becoming a parent. Saturn is your ruler of the fourth house, which represents parenting there as well. And of course, we've got a new cycle starting there too, and that's the Pluto Sun. So it looks like long-term committed partnership is essential, or that's going to be something that you are working on. If you are single, actually, this could represent that you are about to meet someone. And maybe what you are considering here is that you want to be moving together with this person as well. Also, it's kind of like inviting the muses into your life so that you can become more creative, somehow giving birth to a creative project, starting a creative project that you need to be very disciplined about, and you're going to have to be working hard towards it. This is about maybe removing even some of the fears that you've got to be on a stage. That could be a topic for you for multiple reasons. Because Mars, when retrograde in your 10th house, and you've got a Scorpio rising sign, which has got the tendency to hide. Let's have a look at Sagittarius rising sign. So, dear Sagittarius, this conjunction is taking place in your fourth house, which is the house of home environment. So, maybe you want to be creating a safe environment in your home. Maybe you are considering purchasing of a property, for example. This could also talk to you about that there is kind of like a dream home that you have laid eyes on, and then you are uncertain about your financial situation. For example, can I afford this? Do I want to invest into it? But oh wow, it has got a swimming pool, or it has got such a nice deco, and so on. And I just want that somehow. Uh, Also, maybe you are thinking about relocation as well with this, or maybe it's all about reconnecting or starting a new phase with your parents or with people that you live together with. I mean, Venus in the fourth house could talk to you about having to make certain type of renovations as well. Just watch out because this could indicate that that might need to be revisited. So you might be fixing something up and then don't kind of do the quality work, not the cheap ones. Uh, and that might be a message there. Maybe you want to be revealing a secret about yourself or about your partner with the Jupiter square, this combo as well, to your family. Also, this could talk to you about that you just need a little bit more cuddle, or you might feel lonely at home and you would like to be spending a little bit more time with mommy, or your partner is away on a journey, a trip. Jupiter in the sign of Gemini, maybe your partner spends a lot of time in foreign countries or neighborhood countries and so forth, potentially because of work. Because Jupiter rules the work situation of the partner as well. And and then you just kind of feel lonely somehow. So you need a lot of emotional strength here. Capricorn rising sign. So let's have a look at you. Now the conjunction is taking place in your third house, which is the house of communication, also sales, something to do with siblings, for example, and the neighborhood, but it could represent taking courses and short distance travels as well. Now, Venus is the ruler of your fifth house, so you might want to study something that you can be truly passionate about. You might want to be kind of taking your hobbies to the next level, and then you want to make it as kind of like a profession. And that would be Saturn. But also, this is telling you that you might want to be having more of a clear conversation with your children, with your boyfriend, with your girlfriend. Maybe this is about some kind of like clarity about a misunderstanding, something has been said and done, and then got interpreted somehow. So we need to be paying attention to how we approach people. Maybe you have got a bit of a confusion going on in your own thought pattern. So this is about like, do I want to have a child? Do I want to learn more about my hobbies or my childhood experiences and so forth? And then we need a bit of a clarity around this as well. And maybe because Venus rules your love life, did you pull up kind of like a wall in front of you? And then it can feel like that you are unapproachable. Like you might be showing a cold shoulders to others when they are trying to chat you up. And you are wondering why no one is interested in you. So maybe we're gonna have to kind of take off those type of insecurities. It is about learning new skills, potentially because you want to be building a better career. This could talk to you about starting a career opportunity, for example, through social media as well. Obviously, Venus is your career planet, the ruler of your 10th house. This is about becoming an expert. So even with Jupiter being in your sixth house, a lot of knowledge coming towards you to kind of become an expert, maybe in healing fields or at any type of stuff that you are kind of like interested in. And also, this could talk to you about meeting new people as well who are going to become a close friend of yours for the long run. And maybe that is happening through some type of fun activities, fifth house, or work. Let's have a look at Aquarius rising sign. It is happening in your second house. Well, money does not just fly through your window. So either open that window properly that you've got the chances, or go out and then fetch the money, whatever you see outside. So this is telling you that yes, you can make money. Work out your confidence issues about money matters. Have a plan for it. Watch out for your spending habits. This is telling you to save a bit of money. This is telling you to work through your self-esteem issues. Why do you think that you are not lovable? Why do you think that don't deserve love? Why do you think that you don't deserve money? These could be some of the questions that you might want to be asking yourself. Now, of course, this is also possible that you've been living quite a luxurious lifestyle. Obviously, Jupiter is squaring this from the fifth house, having a bit too much fun, and then Saturn would like you to put a bit of a break on it. It doesn't want to take everything away from you. Just don't overstretch yourself. This is about building a secure life for yourself. So even it could talk to you about job changes because you want to be able to kind of earn better money so that you can provide to your children, or you can actually have that drawing class that you have always dreamt about. Jupiter in the fifth house. And even, do you have the confidence to go out? Do you have a partnership? How is your romantic life? Do you suffer from any type of self-esteem issues that, oh, no one really wants me, or I'm not too sure, or I'm doubting the motives of others? That could be potentially a topic. This could also talk to you about that you are getting help, for example, from your family, maybe when it comes to the school of your children. Because again, Jupiter is in Gemini in the fifth house children, Gemini schooling. And of course, Venus is the ruler of your fourth house. Maybe they are helping you out to kind of pay the rent or to relocate. That's also a possibility for you. But for me, it really feels like that you need to be very real about how much money you have, what your expenditures are like, what your spending habits are like, and maybe also what is my relationship with money. So do I know my own talents? Do I know that I we all have got the ability to make it? Do I get attached to certain type of objects and possessions, or am I able to let them go? And last but not least, Pisces rising sign. So this is happening in your first house. Very important for you, which is all about yourself. It's all about making a decision about where you want to be, for example, in a year time. This is about expressing yourself maybe more in a loving, caring, but in a mature way. This is about having a more disciplined approach towards your goals and having a more disciplined approach towards things that you truly love and maybe you want to create, you want to give birth to it. And also, this is about how you want to come across, for example, on social media, how you want others to see you. And yes, this is telling you that maybe you need to be on a little bit of a diet as well. Maybe takeaways, for example, because Jupiter is in Gemini, right? So the food gets delivered to us. Maybe you're gonna have to kind of say no to that. Okay, or maybe simply you're just thinking about how I can grow professionally, how I can achieve something more secure, maybe more secure income, for example. Definitely, there is this huge indication here to having to care for yourself, to take yourself a little bit more seriously, to be able to love yourself, and doing something in connection to your personality or to your appearance, kind of starting fresh there. So you want to lose weight? Check, it's a good idea. You want to be changing your wardrobe? Good, it's a great idea. But do not overstretch yourself because Venus in the first house loves going on a shopping spree. And Saturn says, you know what? Let's not do that, please. Okay, because we're going to have to save a little bit as well. Now, of course, Saturn is the ruler of your 12th house, which is the representation of um, um, big expenditures. So, that would be, guys, a brief description about what to expect with the upcoming Saturn and Venus conjunction. And I hope to see you in my next video. Take care. Bye.